Hello, everyone. Raymond Moore, Kilted Prepper. You're watching Coffee with Ray. Mm, yum, yum, yum. How's everybody doing today? Still have some sniffles going on and everything, but I'm feeling a heck of a lot better today than I have been in the past weeks and everything. So it looks like this bronchial thing is starting to finally let up. And so, um, do me a favor. I haven't asked this in a while. If you're new here, like, subscribe, share, and then ring that little bell so you get notified whenever I do go live or post a new video. I want to also thank so many of you who are part of our wonderful community and hanging out with us and joining the show every day and everything. So just know that I really appreciate that as well. And it means a lot. Um, I just actually created a join section. So we're having a members area that I'm going to be doing and creating special content for you members. And I think it's something like $5.99 a month or something like that. So I picked the lowest number that I could that YouTube offered, and I think it was $5.99. So, but the biggest thing is I really want to try to help you guys. My goal to help everybody, and I don't know what the heck that was. So, um, but weird technical difficulties. But my goal is to really help educate and everything. I want to have more allies than enemies. And so that's kind of my little selfish driving force as to why to educate and help folks and everything. I believe that the more preppers that we have going, the better. And so, um, coffee. So that's what I'm doing. I'm also doing this weekend at 6 p.m. Eastern, a Zoom class on creating alternate income. And I'm going to be sharing a couple things on how to actually find money you already have. And then also talk about other ways of alternate income. Now, if I don't finish the class, I may even do a part two, but we'll see. There's a lot of information that I want to put out to you guys and help you guys with and everything. So, yeah, tune in for that. The link, I'll put the link down below, and then I'll be sending out email. I sent out an email yesterday with my latest article, and then also a blurb for the class this weekend. And so I'll send out another one today and probably another one Friday and Saturday as well, just to make sure that you guys remember. So, hey, Holly, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Um, but today, what I wanted to talk about, yesterday's video was rather hard hitting, and then my article that went out yesterday as well, again, rather hard hitting. And I've had a number of people actually ask me questions, not only on Facebook, but I got a couple emails as well from folks. And the biggest thing that people are asking is, what is going on in China going to affect us personally? And if you watch yesterday's show, or if you read my article, in which if you haven't, read it, I'll put the link below. In fact, I'll pin the article to the comments so that you can find it really quickly. But go read that article, and I'm presenting a lot of information of what's going on in China. And then one of the things is that people were asking was, why didn't we know this? And it was twofold. One, there was so much going on in the last 3 to 5 years that a lot of this information just wasn't coming out because we were so preoccupied with inflation and elections and COVID and, all these things really, affected the news and having this news bubble up and everything. And so there was that. And then the Chinese are very good about hiding what was really going on there in China. And it hasn't come out until recently how really bad it is over there. Now, a lot of people can say, oh, yeah, it's going to be, they're going to have economic issues and this and that has been coming. And yeah, there's always been that. But people really didn't realize how bad it was actually. And so the biggest questions is, how is it going to affect us here? And it's amazing to me, even in the prepper arena, that so many people don't realize how addicted we are to cheap Chinese stuff. I mean, people understand it, but until you really do an exercise, which I really highly recommend you guys to do, is do an exercise of look at everything that you've bought recently, all your consumer goods, all maybe your electronics, this, that, and the other thing, and look at how much is made in China. And you'll be amazed at how much, basically you are dependent on China. And so by doing that exercise, you're able to see, and then maybe what can you break away from to become less dependent. And so with everything that's going on in China, basically what's going to happen someday, and I don't know how soon it is going to happen, but I truly believe that we're going to stop seeing cheap Chinese stuff coming to the US. One, again, because China doesn't have the workers or the workforce, it's becoming very not cost effective to do business with China anymore. And then, based upon a lot of the policies and everything that the current administration has been doing, basically has been putting China over the barrel. So China's not happy with us right now. And so I really strongly believe that they're going to start trading with bricks, and they're just going to basically throw the towel in and say, you know what, screw it. We're done with you guys. And we've been seeing this already with a lot of contracts being canceled. Back in May, they canceled a huge corn contract. They've been canceling some wheat contracts and everything. The current administration has been really hammering them on microchips and stuff, and the inability to produce chips, and also technological um, information and ideas and everything, really curtailing the flow of information to them, basically for U.S. security reasons, which is I understand. But so all these things are basically upsetting China, along with all their problems that they've got going. And so I really see that eventually the trade is going to really be curtailed back, because they don't really have to trade with us anymore. They have the BRICS nations now, and the BRICS nations are very strong. If you're part of my Telegram group, you'll see that I'm always sending news out about the BRICS and everything that's going on there. And excuse me, but it's just all this stuff. But one of the big questions is, well, why don't we just do something about it? And believe it or not, we are in this country, we are doing something about it. But the problem is that we're still being inundated with cheap Chinese stuff that people don't realize how long it takes to create a factory to start bid. And that's the answer, folks. It really is. What's happening globally is that the big happy family, global family, is disappearing, and we're starting to regionalize again, and starting to become independent nations again. That's what's kind of taking place. Or we're moving towards alliances. And for example, BRICS is an alliance, the G7 is an alliance, G20 is an alliance, the NAFTA 2 is an alliance. We have the Caribbean alliance. And so what we're seeing is a lot of trade alliances starting to take place, and so we're kind of breaking away. And so all that is taking place in the world. Instead of all this big one world government stuff, it's actually becoming the opposite. And so we're seeing nations and everything start to break away and start that trade, starting to trade with each other, start trading with friends. And that's what more and more countries are starting to do. And so we're almost seeing a east-west or north-south sort of situation growing globally. And so people were at, well, why don't we just, fix it ourselves? And like it or not, we are starting that. And in fact, one of the things that is somewhat positive with the Biden administration is that we do have they are doing a lot of infrastructure. We haven't seen spending on infrastructure like we have been spending since about World War II. Now, personally, I haven't seen much of it. Well, I don't know. Maybe we got some freeway work going on out, where I live and everything like that. But we're the Biden administration has been investing a lot in infrastructure and getting things going in that like that. And like I said, we haven't been spending or been doing as much since World War II. And so that's a positive move in the right direction. Other things that we need to be doing is we need to be creating chip companies here, microchip companies here. We need to start producing, more of our goods here. 11 companies control all the consumer goods. And I've shown you this picture before and everything, but I don't think people realize that there are only 11 companies that control basically all our consumer goods. And the biggest issue with that is, where do you think they get all the raw supplies to make all this stuff? And yeah, it's China or BRICS nations. And so people, I'll just buy Colgate, or I'll just buy Prel shampoo, or I'll just buy, Head and Shoulders, or I'll, use Mop and Glow, or, all these consumer products that we really don't think about daily. And so, only 11 companies control all that. And when they are no longer able to get the supplies and everything, then we're going to start seeing even American brands starting to dry up, because they're so used to getting cheap Chinese, chemicals and raw materials and everything to make the products that we use. And so what we need to do here in the US, and I don't really think that we've hit the pain level yet to really initiate this sort of industrial growth. And that is the answer, is industrial growth. But it's going to take 3, 5, maybe even 10 years to get this industrial growth moving and everything. And again, we in the US have not felt the pain enough to really start, taking action and everything. We haven't seen the entrepreneurs, we haven't seen the investors or anything like that. Yeah, certain companies have been doing this, that, or the other, but we're not seeing it on a grand scale. And that's what's going to have to take place, is that we are going to have to reindustrialize this nation. And it is the direction that we are going. Now, the positive thing is that we are energy independent, we are food independent, we are fertilizer independent. And so a lot of the primary needs that we have is good. So we are sitting in a good place, which, in 15, maybe 20 years, our kids and everything will grow up into a more balanced, established area. That is, if the current administration doesn't muck things up even more. And then, another, I don't know if you guys saw, but it's floating around that Michelle O is going to maybe be running for president, which I think would be a big mistake. But enough of politics. I don't want to talk about that. But anyways, things that we need to do. So the big issue though is, how do I get from here to there? There's this gap of, we don't have crap anymore because China's cut us off. So how do you span this gap, this 5, 10, maybe 15 even year gap, until our nation starts becoming industrialized again? And this is why I'm telling folks, you guys got to start thinking about creating a personal supply chain. Start doing these things now. And again, growing a garden, start getting your tangible assets, start looking into, junk silver, and, maybe some gold and everything like that. That span that we need to span before our nation becomes completely industrialized is going to be very difficult. And that's the time, that's the storm, that's the coming storm that we need to think about spanning or getting through to get to the other side. And again, this isn't a short-term, situation. This is going to be a rather long term. At the shortest, we may be looking at 3 years. But if you look at history, it's 5 to 10 years to span these sort of situations. It takes companies and industry and everything a long time to really get the wheels going. Now, here's a big negative that is also slowing us down is a lot of the junk that we need to do to build industry comes from China. And already we're looking at, what is it, these big transformers and a lot of the electrical stuff and everything. I mean, some of these things are sitting out 36 months, they're ordered, but it's taking like 36 months to just get them. And so I think that time frame is going to slow down even more, from 36 to 48 to until we start, ramping up and finding other resources or other areas that we can, buy these things from and everything, just so we can start industrializing. So that's the situation. We have the span, I keep hitting my microphone. We have a span that we need to traverse. And, the biggest thing that I've been preaching is creating a personal supply chain. And I'm all about we need to start learning how to buy American again. We need to learn to start learning how to buy local again. These are things that we have forgotten. These are things that our great grandparents used to do and everything is buy local, buy American, and start dealing business with each other. And so things that I've talked about is, again, doing a garden. It's still not too late. You can still put in a winter garden unless you're way up in the Dakotas or next to Canada or something like that. You're still able to plant a lot of root vegetables right now. You're able to plant beans and everything. You're able to plant a lot of the cabbage or cole family sort of stuff. So cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, a lot of those things do well in the late fall, early winter. And so you're able to do all these things still and get things going. And what this will do is also help you prep up and get ready for spring as well. So all these things, is creating a personal supply chain with you. Start learning where your farmer's market is. Start learning where your local gardeners are, and start learning to barter trade and everything with local gardeners, getting in with that group of people. Start learning, your local ranchers, your local, farmers as well as that. And these are more of your bigger ranchers and farmers. We have a beef source, we have a pork source, we have, some vegetable sources and produce sources, as well as other people that I'm slowly making connections with in basically creating a gardeners, in a sense, a gardeners co-op and things. And so, but start doing things like that. And then a good place to do is check out nextdoor.com. Nextdoor.com is a great resource. It's kind of like Facebook for neighborhoods. And I mean, both me and Cynthia have really leveraged this a lot. We've found other gardeners. We've found stuff to sell, stuff to buy. I mean, it's a great resource, and it connects you with people in your community. And then another great website is called Public Square, publicsq.com. And publicsq.com is basically linking you with local businesses. And it's growing bigger and bigger. It's amazing how big this website is now starting to really take traction and growing. But the great thing is you drop in your zip code and you can see all these local businesses, and you can set it for 2, 5, 10, 50 miles a radius, and find all these local businesses. By doing these things now, you're gonna have resources and options presented to you, because when SHTF happens, people don't think clearly. They don't, process properly and everything. They allow fear to dictate and everything. And even though we've done a good job preparing, the better thing to do is have all these things lined up now so that you're doing these things now. You're in the habit of doing these things now. So when the storm does hit, it just kind of like hits you a little bit. You don't feel the full brunt because you're doing so many of these things already. You've already started creating your own supply chain and so forth and so on. Now, the biggest thing that I'm concerned about is consumer goods. I've got food handled, I've got, other things handled and everything, but then where do I get my consumer goods? Now, a lot of people out there, oh, wow, I'll make my own soap, or I'll make my own shampoo, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. And realistically, in today's world, yeah, can you do that? Yeah, you can. But it's very time consuming. And, in today's world, when we are really working hard to basically stay, in front of the curve and everything, I know that I don't have time to be making my own soap, my own shampoo, my own, window cleaner and all these other things. I don't have the time. And so this is why I've hooked up with a company called Patriot Switch. And, they're the ones that we get our consumer goods. Yesterday, I think I mentioned that we finally ran out of laundry detergent, and we used laundry detergent, softener, and basically a whitening product that we get from Patriot Switch. And we started these on in May. We opened all three bottles, started using them in May, and we just now emptied the bottles and stuff. The laundry detergent is 19 bucks. The softener is something like 17, and then the whitening was something like 18 or 19 as well. And why I'm saying all this is because normally when we were shopping the Walmart stuff and the junk like that, one, Tide is more expensive. The Tide that we were buying is something like $23, $25 a jug, and we were buying that at least every month, if not every 3 weeks, because we do a lot of laundry here. And then softener, same thing, and then the OxyClean and stuff, same thing. So we were spending a lot of money on those products. And so if you just look at it just roughly, let's say probably about $60, $70 a month being spent on just doing laundry, that we have saved. So April, May, June, July, August, and we're now in almost September. So let's just even call it 5 months. So 5 times 70 is 5 times 70. That's $350 that we've saved just in laundry product in and of itself. And so by what we can then do is take that 350, because again, money saved is money earned, and then use it somewhere else in our preps by, prepping up more food, or prepping up more this, or prepping up more that and everything. We discovered we had an extra $350 that we've been saving. And that's not the only thing. There's just so many products that we now use that we're saving money on. And so again, money saved is money earned, and we're able to reinvest this money into other bigger, better preps. What is the one thing that we just recently got here? I forgot. Some kitchen tool. Now it's just totally blanking my head, but you get what I'm trying to tell you. We need to start thinking about how do we traverse the span of time from when our nation finally wakes up and smells the coffee to when we are finally industrializing again. And that's the answer. We have to industrialize, because that's, if we are going to survive as a nation, period, then we have to industrialize. And we are in a great position. Us and Australia, believe it or not, are in the best position overall for industrialization. And because of where Australia is located, it's really, not made them very beneficial. So us as the United States, industrializing and everything is what is going to help our country grow, help our country do great. And, does Patriot Switch have membership? Yeah, they're a shopping club, and it's $19 a year. I want to say that right now, because they always do this $1 special where you can get on and and have have a 1 year membership for $1. And I think they're running that right now. I don't know. Hit my Patriot Switch link. It's down below. And what I can do, Kim, is send you information and send you a link to the store. So it is a shopping club. I can't talk much about it because I'm an influencer and they got some pretty, not I say harsh rules about advertising and everything. And so, I have to, just watch about what I say and everything because they really work on word of mouth. They do not pay for advertising at all. It's one of the reasons why their products are so inexpensive. And then another great thing, a lot of it is toxin free. So if you look on the back of a bottle of a Clorox cleaner or this, that, or the other, I mean, there's chemicals that are basically will kill you. And that's one of the things I love about shopping with the shopping club is that everything is basically natural and toxin free. So, but again, what we need to be focusing on is creating our own personal supply chain so that we can span that time, folks. And that is the what and the why behind, what's going to happen with China, and things are just going to start getting worse. And now on top of all that, and I hate to be a bearer of bad news, we're continuing looking at higher inflation. With higher inflation, we're going to start seeing even more job loss. We're going to, like it or not, also our food production has sucked this year. And so in come wintertime, we're going to be looking at a lot of food issues and I don't know, say food availability is going to be pretty high, or the prices could be so high and outrageous that people won't be able to afford it. So we have all of these things kind of hitting us, which is kind of a perfect storm. And the way that we circumvent this and everything and basically survive is creating our own arc. And one of the primary things of doing that is creating our own personal supply chain. And by doing that and taking that responsibility, and again, this is stuff that our great grandparents used to do. And so for some reason, ever since the dawn of Walmart and big box stores, we've forgotten how to do this. But our great grandparents and everything had personal supply chains. That's how you lived and things. We've forgotten that. We need to get back to that. And so that's everything that I've got to tell you. Make sure you tune in this Saturday, my alternate income course. I'm going to be teaching on Zoom. I'll be putting the link again below and stuff, but I'll be sending out even more emails. Get on my email list. Go to raymondmoore.com. Sign up for newsletter. It's free. I send out stuff. Get on my Telegram group. It's the Kilted Prepper News on Telegram. Search it. Check it out. Again, links all below and stuff like that. So, and if you're new here, like, subscribe, share, and then ring that little bell so you get notified whenever I do post a new video or go live. So I appreciate you guys hanging with me. This has been a long one. We're sitting at 27 minutes. So, but I felt it really important. I had so many people asking me questions about yesterday's video and yesterday's article. And if you haven't seen it, go read that article right now. I go into some of the details of what's going on as well as solutions. So that's everything here. So Raymond Moore, Kilted Prepper, Coffee with Ray. We'll see you. Goodbye. God bless and kilt on, folks.